Have you ever been so angry for someone else that you could feel it buzzing under your skin? A rage so pure and so white-hot that you knew, with absolute certainty, you were capable of doing something permanent? I have. He laid his hands on my friend. He thought because he was a guest in our country, he was untouchable. He thought his future was secure. He had no idea that with a few quiet phone calls, I was about to become the architect of his downfall. My name is James, I am 33 years old, and this is a story about what happens when a bully picks the wrong victim, and an even wronger group of friends. If you believe that sometimes justice needs a little nudge in the right direction, then do me a favor and hit that like button. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because you are not going to want to miss the moment this guy's world comes crashing down around him. Trust me, the payoff is worth it. Back in the early days of the internet, you know, when MySpace still ruled the world and logging on was an actual event, I was just a regular student trying to figure out life at a junior college. Like a lot of people, I didn't have much money, so I moved in with my girlfriend at the time. Let's call her Lucy, to split rent and expenses. It made sense, and honestly, things were going well. One evening, Lucy told me she'd invited a classmate over for a board game night. "She's super cool," Lucy said. "You'll like her." I figured, sure, the more the merrier. We invited a couple other friends too, and it turned out to be a really fun night. But the surprise? Her friend Sarah, I knew her. We'd gone to high school together. We weren't exactly close, but we had that comfortable, nostalgic vibe between us. We clicked instantly. From that night on, Sarah became kind of a regular fixture in our apartment. She'd come by for movie nights, dinners, late-night study breaks. She even brought her boyfriend a few times. And that's when things got weird. His name was Jay, and let me just say, if awkward tension could be bottled, Jay would be the manufacturer. Every time he came over, he'd just sit there, silent, cold, like he was allergic to fun. He never smiled, never engaged, and had that way of making everyone else feel like they were being judged just for laughing too loud. It was obvious, everyone noticed. He didn't want to be there, but we kept inviting him anyway, mostly out of politeness to Sarah. Thankfully, he stopped showing up after the second or third time. He always had an excuse, and honestly, none of us were sad about it. But then, things took a turn. A month or so later, I was studying at the kitchen table when Lucy's phone rang. She picked it up, and within seconds, her face went pale. "It's Sarah," she whispered. "She's crying." Without hesitation, we told her to come over. Sarah showed up looking shattered, eyes red, hands shaking, her voice barely holding together. She started telling us what had happened. Jay, her oh-so-charming boyfriend, had completely lost it on her. Apparently, he'd been growing increasingly jealous of her spending time at our place. He accused her of cheating. With who? He didn't even specify. Me? Lucy? Both of us? Sarah swore nothing ever happened, and she was telling the truth. There was never anything inappropriate. But Jay didn't care. He called her names, screamed at her, and when she tried to leave, he shoved her. She tripped over the coffee table and slammed onto the floor, bruising her lower back so badly that Lucy told me later it was the size of a grapefruit. Sarah had shown her the bruise. And the worst part? Sarah still believed it was an accident. "He didn't mean to hurt me," she said, voice trembling. "It's just, he was upset." Let me be very clear. I was furious. My blood was boiling, and my fists were clenched so tightly I couldn't feel my fingers. I'm not a violent guy. I've never been in a fight in my life. But in that moment, I wanted to be. I wanted to find Jay and make him feel a fraction of the pain he'd inflicted on her. But instead of fists, I chose something better. You see, at the time, I was working in the administration building at school. Student employee gig. Nothing glamorous. Mostly filing, paperwork, and helping with registration. But here's the key detail. I had access to student records, every schedule, every ID number, every enrollment status. And Jay, he was a student too. I stewed on it for a few days. I kept thinking, do I really want to do this? What if I get caught? But then I'd remember the look on Sarah's face, the way she flinched when we closed the door too hard, the way she defended the guy who shoved her, and I knew I had to do it. The day came, the last possible day to drop or add classes without official permission. I waited until the office was quiet. Everyone else had gone to lunch. I picked up the enrollment phone, not the regular phones, but the internal line used for modifying class schedules. I had Jay's student ID, birth date, and security info already. I typed it in and boom, his records pulled up. One by one, I dropped every single class from his schedule. But I didn't stop there. I searched for every open class that had an additional course fee, photography, ceramics, science labs, and added them to his account. Hundreds of dollars in fees. And the best part? Once you owed a debt to the school, you couldn't request transcripts, register for new classes, or basically do anything administratively. Oh, and did I mention? Jay was a foreign student, which meant if he wasn't enrolled in a full-time load, he could be deported. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's harsh. But when someone lays their hands on a woman, they forfeit the right to sympathy. This wasn't about embarrassment or inconvenience. This was about consequences. I didn't tell a soul. Not Lucy, not Sarah, nobody. I kept it buried so deep it felt like it hadn't happened. Until I heard Sarah mention something a few days later. She and Jay shared an English class on Tuesdays. She said she was nervous about seeing him after the breakup. Yeah, she dumped him that same night, thankfully. But she showed up anyway. Jay was there, but so was someone new, a student who'd been on the wait list, and there weren't enough chairs. So the teacher took roll, and guess who wasn't on it? Jay tried to argue. I'm enrolled, I've been here all semester. But the teacher had the official list. His name wasn't on it. End of story. Sarah said she never saw him in class again. I waited a few weeks, then logged in and checked his record. All the classes were gone, including the ones I'd added with fees. There were no new ones. His enrollment was empty. I don't know if he dropped out, got kicked out, or got sent home. But I do know one thing. Sarah never had to look over her shoulder in that classroom again. He thought he could intimidate her, control her, hurt her, but all it took was one phone call. And I flipped his world upside down. He didn't see it coming. He couldn't fight back. He just vanished. No scene, no closure. Just gone. And to this day, I don't regret it, because justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it works in admin. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far, if maybe I should have handled it differently. But then I remember the bruise. I remember Sarah's tears, and I remember this. Mess with me all you want, but hurt my friends, you're done. If that revenge gave you chills, smash that like button and let me know in the comments. What would you have done in my shoes? And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories of karma, consequences, and the sweetest payback life has to offer. Thanks for watching, and stay ruthless, friends.